Ah, nothing like a little human sacrifice to strengthen your army. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. Penultimate episode of House of the Dragon season 2 is here. It is called The Red Sowing. This is my favorite episode of the season thus far, and we have seen a lot of the ruthlessness that the Greens have done. Hightower, Aegon, Aemon. We've seen what they have. This is the first episode that sort of shows the lengths that Rhaenyra and Daemon are going to strengthen that army, and it is, if not as equally bad as what the Greens have done, it can be considered worse because it is very calculated. Like everything that she's doing on purpose for a greater good that in her eyes. Be damned if who it hurts or who it harms. And so I think this season has done a pretty good job of sort of saying that Queen Rhaenyra is the person that we're sort of supposed to be behind. She's our protagonist, if you will. That's how this series has shaped her, even as a kid. This is one of the first where you peel that back a little bit, like, oh no, she is just as grimy as they are. So this opens with Rhaenyra meeting Adam. And it's in Spice Town, but it looks like it's just an undisclosed beach. The two of them, she and her dragon, and he is with Sea Smoke. And she gets there to sort of ask him, "What are you doing? What is your end goal? What are you trying to accomplish?" And basically, she learns that he doesn't know what the hell he wants. He is in over his head, and that this dragon basically chose him. He immediately takes a knee to her to give her fidelity and says, "Like I am in your service. Please teach me the ways." Basically, like, I'll do whatever you want. Just take me with you, and I will learn whatever it is that you need me to learn. And she's kind of just like, well, hold on, is this a trap? Like, why are you so quick to drop a knee? He's like, look, I have nothing. I ain't been nothing. I ain't been about shit. And so I am looking to help you in whatever ways that you need. I did not choose this dragon. This dragon chose me. So I feel like it's a higher calling. And he has already sort of been looking for that better way of life. This has sort of been his avenue in, and now he has it. And she's like, okay, what is your lineage? And she speaks, it's like, I don't really know my mother's lineage. And, well, let's just not talk about my dad. It's her hand. And so like, well, cool. That sounds like it's good enough for me. I don't know how you did it, and I didn't think it was possible. You've sort of done the unthinkable. So ride back to Dragonstone with me. I think we're going to have a place for you there. Alicent is getting her wounds sort of checked out and healed, and she asked one of the night guards to accompany her on basically a spa day. She decides to get out of the castle and just kind of go and reset her mind. She steps away from all her kids, all of the world, and kind of just like, I need to put myself at ease and put myself at an even equilibrium. And she's out there for a while. She's taking lake trips, horseback riding, lake trips, just hanging out in the lake in minimal dress. She's just becoming one with nature, and is asked at some point in time on this trip, "Hey, when are we going back?" She's like, "I don't know if I want to." Understandably so. This is a lot for her, and she is the one who sort of pushed her sons to go down this avenue. And now knowing that it's was done more so on a story than it was her dying husband's actual wish, yeah, there's a lot on her heart and her head, and she doesn't see a way out of it. And now that she's been removed from the council, she doesn't have even a seat at the table to sort of help or turn things in her favor. Um, while Eamon is sort of exacting justice on the people who started the riot, or some people, he's making sort of examples out of some people. You can't get them all because that would just destroy all the small folk. While that's happening, Lord Jasper gets word to Loras that, hey, I've gotten word that somebody is riding on Sea Smoke, and they have a rider. And Loras is like, well, cool. have you told anybody? He's like, no, I have not. I'm telling you so you can do with that with what you will. He's like, okay, cool. That's useful information. He kind of just dismisses it. He's like, you can tell Lord Aemon, you can tell Prince the Regent if you want, but I would let this whisper just kind of hang out in the wind. And for whatever it is, whatever he's cooking up, Lars is just trying to. His goal is to give Aegon the heads up and the put him as the person that sort of gets back to strength and can reclaim his kingdom, where he doesn't want to give Aemon any sort of assistance or any heads up. And since Aemon basically poo-pooed him as the hand, he's now like, well, cool, then I'm not going to help you out in any way at all. And so that is sort of his kind of measure to show that, yeah, I don't I don't want to help him. I don't want to assist him in any way whatsoever. So back at Dragonstone, the dragons make it back in. They find out that Rhaenyra is fine because all of them are freaking out because she just flew out of there on a dragon. And they make it back and get word that, yeah, there's a rider accompanying her with sea smoke. And they're kind of like, well, we need to arrest this man. Like he's stolen a dragon. And they get word that Rhaenyra is like, no, I want him to be a part of this. I want him to be here, treat him well, put him in the guest quarters, and I want you to train him on how to ride a dragon, uh, as well as start teaching him some High Valyrian so that he could speak to his dragon. They're like, wait, what? Why the hell are we doing all of that? And Corlys is like, well, that is what the wishes of Rhaenyra want, so we will await her to come and sort of see where her head is at. Thing is, Rhaenyra doesn't attend the council. She is in her quarters, and she is planning now to sort of go down the history books to see how many other bastards, if you will, exist in history with that may have some Targaryen bloodline to it. Musaria is there with her and is like, well, you can do that, but you're gonna be looking till you're blue in the face because those records aren't going to show everything. You need to look at the bastards, the folks that sort of have been swept under the rug that may have a drop of blood, especially those who were conceived or created at whorehouses. That's where you need to look. And there are record books you can find for those. Some are a little bit more discreet than others, but that is where you're going to find a possibility of any more people like this. And Rhaenyra is like, well, okay, maybe that is what we have to do. Let us raise an army of bastards. So that is what her quest is. So Mysaria gets the word to her spy back at the keep, Elodie, and gets the word that, hey, we're looking for people who are bastards of Targaryen blood. Find them all up and get them. They have a one-way ticket to come to Dragonstone, and they sort of tell them what's going on. It's like we want to see who else is capable of riding a dragon, and so people are choosing to give up and leave their life. Typically, people who are downtrodden or have some. If they're a bastard, that means they didn't get to live in the life of luxury that they would have had they gotten to be with their birthright. And so the message is out. Corlys comes to see Adam, and Adam immediately is like, "Hey, I need to relieve my post of the fishing post that I had for you." Corlys is like, "Cool, you're relieved," and he just sort of stares him up and down, but they don't really have a bond. They don't have a connection. He sort of just says, "Cool, attaboy." He gives him the old attaboy and just dips and just leaves, and then he goes to go see Alan at the fishing at the docks, and kind of gives him the heads up that, hey, your brother has attached to a dragon and now he's living with in the queen's quarters, and you made. I don't know who your mother's blood was. I can't say that unfortunately I don't know, but clearly there was some bloodline with her and with me combined that your blood has something. So if you have any aspirations of doing something, um, just know that the queen is about to send out a message to kind of group all you guys together. He's like, no, that's Adam's thing. I am a man of the sea. That is where I'm at. So I am not going to put myself in that list or in that name category. It's probably for the best because I think if he also did it, it would be a little harder for Corlys to sort of negate the birthright that they both have. We then go see Daemon. And probably one of my there are two scenes that are my favorite in this episode. This is one of them. Damon is meeting with young Lord Oscar Tully. And Lord Oscar Tully might be one of my favorite new characters introduced because he gives Damon the shit. Um, and to be as young as he is, it's clear that he doesn't respect and or fear Damon. And he knows who the type of person that Damon is. But he goes in there and he says, I will give my fidelity to the Queen. Queen Rhaenyra is who we are giving ourselves to. Um, and that to the River Lords, we will all bend the knee to Rhaenyra. However, I don't know if they're going to listen to me because I'm a child and I'm the youngest person here, and it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to all fall in line and understand and go with me. Also, these people hate you. And Damon's like, well, I don't need them to love me. I need their swords. Like, that's all I want and need from them. And then he gets the note from Simon that the groups of the River Lords are here. They've been summoned to Harrenhal to sort of have a town meeting with Lord Tully. Damon's giving a speech. It's fallen on deaf ears because they are aware that Blackwood was sort of sent via him and knows that, hey, it was said earlier as much as like we don't really want to fall in line with the person who was willing to do whatever it takes to gain people and to get the kingdom, killing a baby being one of them. Lord Tully, Oscar, is very much like, okay, look, I don't F with this dude. I think this dude's a piece of shit. I don't I don't rock with him at all. He's a terrible human being. That said, my father at one point gave his word to Rhaenyra, the heir, and so that is who I am giving it to. Be damned if who she has here to represent her. And they're most of them are like, well, why should we be listening to you, a kid? Like, why do you get to say what it is? This man, these people have savagely gone through our town folks and abused us in ways that just aren't humane. And Oscar's like, you're right. Let's talk about Blackwood's savagery and use of force to try to get us to bend the knee. And here's the crazier thing. He's like, I don't think you did any of the stuff you did because Damon asked you to do. Even though he's an a-hole, I don't think he asked you to do this. I think you did it because you wanted to. And you just had the now sort of badge to be able to say, this is what I wanted to do, and now I have a right to kind of do it. At that point, that he has Lord Blackwood seized, and he sort of puts the ball in Damon's court, like, okay, here's the deal. If you want all of these folks, you need to basically denounce this man and take his life. Like, you need to show good faith to us that this man is a war criminal and a person that you don't want to associate with. If you do so, cool. You will have us all. And it's a way that they all have sort of a bit of a blood on their hands to sort of take an ear back for all the damage that they had done to them. And so it's the only way. They're not going to outright just follow behind Tully. But if they do this and they show that Tully is the one that's responsible for this, it's a little bit more likely. And so Damon immediately goes over to him with the sword. And it's funny because Damon is the one who put him into that mission and said, hey, do what it is you got to do, but just get them on our side. And he does what he has to do. And now the next piece is that Damon really needs that army. Like, he needs that army more than anything. And so, sorry, Blackwood, I gotta kill you, even though you did exactly what it is that I asked you to do. So he takes his head, and then he has another vision. He goes into the castle and he sees Viserys pretty much on his deathbed, staring at the crown. And he's like, what is this? What does this mean? He's like, this thing has caused me so much pain, and I never wanted it. I don't think it's worth it. It caused too much pain, too much anguish. And after what you've just done, do you still want it? And so Damon sort of has this blank look on his face because he just did some real shady between killing a kid and doing this to somebody that was loyal to a T to Damon. It clearly has some thoughts where he's questioning, is this all worth it? and that vision was placed there in his because it's what's going on in his head. He's kind of wondering, what the hell am I doing? We see back at the keep, Orwell is trying to basically do PT. He's giving some personal training and to Aegon to sort of get him back on his feet. And he is going through pure pain. Any step he's taking, it's in pure. He's missing an ear, just in a bad way. But he's doing this on the behalf of Lars, who is saying, "Let's get him back into shape. Let's get him back as quickly as we possibly can." And they help him back to the bed. And Lars says to him, "Like, look, I think you're doing much better than you were before. You're doing great work. However, I'm going to need you to push yourself harder and get there faster because we need you back up, and we need to put you back on that kingdom." And so it's clear that Lars has put his stock into Aegon, and that's who he's the horse that he is backing up. And so he needs him to get on his feet so that at least, even if nothing else, Lars can sort of prop him up enough to reclaim his kingdom, and then Lars can sort of do the king running himself as the puppeteer behind him. And Aegon's going to have a softer spot for him because he was the one to help him sort of get rehabilitated. Jason meets with his mom, Queen Rhaenyra, and is a little butthurt about all of these bastards coming in and his claim to dragon riders. And he initially is leading it one way. He's saying he's upset about that, but he's more upset about his own lineage and that he is himself a bastard. And because he is a bastard, he is starting to question, like, well, hold on, if you're bringing all these people in, and if something were to happen to you, if they take my dragon, if one of these riders comes and gets my dragon, do I have a stake or a claim on being in the heir? Because I'm not really of the bloodline that you say that I am. And everyone knows it. We just kind of don't say anything because you're the queen. So he's questioning and wondering about his legacy. And she's kind of just like, look, I don't like this. I don't like this plan at all. But it's what we got to do. So sorry. And so that's when the message goes out. We see how it starting to spread around the small folks. Everybody it's almost like their Willy Wonka ticket. Like, hey, I got the golden ticket. I'm going to go get a chance to change my life or die. That's the other option. And some of these folks, they're like, look, I've lived the life. I've done stuff. This isn't getting any better. I'm hungry all the time. I would rather risk my life and take that shot, that lottery ticket to maybe end up on the other side or just die. Either of those ways are better than what I'm doing there. So there's a whole boatload of folks that get on that boat to go over to Dragonstone. One of them being Ulf, who we'll see, and the other being Hugh, who we've sort of followed quite a bit throughout this season with Kat, his wife. And he goes back to Kat and says, hey, look, Kat, I never told you this, but my mom was in one of these pleasure houses and she had silver hair and was definitely of that bloodline. And I don't know where this is going to lead, but I do know that we've been through a lot. We've been through pain. We've been in poverty. We can't find food. If I take this and this works, we won't have to worry about another thing ever. And so it just shows the humanity, that piece shows the humanity of a person saying, hey, this is like a lottery ticket. You punch that ticket in, it works. Cool. Great. Kat's thinking of it from the other side. Like, I've already lost a daughter, and now you have a shot of making me a widow. I don't care enough about the riches. That doesn't mean enough to me to justify this move versus me not having you. He doesn't care, and he still gets on that boat. I have a feeling she may not be there when he returns. So as all these people arrive at Dragonstone, Rhaenyra's about to come down to sort of have this ceremony, if you will, and the folks that sort of help put on these tests and these Bluetooth pairings, if you will, of the dragon to a rider, they dip. They're like, look, what you're doing here is blasphemous. It's wrong. This is ugly. This is a mess, and this is going to get grimy, and they don't want any parts of it. So they dip, and then Rhaenyra has sort of a Braveheart speech, if you will, to the dragon seeds that have arrived here. And there's people of all ilk. There's women, men, some in better shape and or health than others, but they're all here sort of trying to cash in their lottery ticket. She's giving them this great pep talk and saying you can change your lives, you can be chosen ones, and I appreciate where you all came from. I know some of you came from nothing, and this is sort of your shot for more. She mentions Vermithor, and she's like, Vermithor is the second largest dragon in the world behind Vhagar. and he is fierce. Let's go to him. Let's get this set. And they all go into the quarters for the dragon's lair, and she summons Thor, and yeah, all fuck calamity ensues. People are burned, bitten, chewed on, stomped on. He runs through the gamut for most of these people, and it's a terrible thing to see, and it just shows the sort of lengths that Rhaenyra will go to just get one more rider on her service. She's standing up above everything and sort of just seeing the chaos and bodies being burned alive. It's rough. There's even guards who are sort of holding people, like they've made this choice already now. So like they're holding people, not letting them go through. Some people are slipping through the cracks because they're like, oh no, wait, I changed my mind. I don't want to do this. It's just pure madness. To a point then where Hugh is one of the last few dragon seeds still standing. He ends up with another dragon seed girl who he sort of pushes out the way of Thor, about to bite, and saves her, and then sort of it's like, all right, well, crap, this is my moment. He has a moment of bravery, and sort of at that point, that sort of gave the dragon a bit of a, okay, all right, so this person is willing to have stand up to me, and so that made him different than everybody else who immediately started sprinting and running. Someone actually had a one-to-one convo with him, and so their pairing is official, and they are now a 1-1. And Rhaenyra sort of smiles like, okay, that worked. Never mind the hundreds of bodies that are have been killed in this process. It's sort of like, hey, we're gonna have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, and boy, was there some eggs cracked on this. While they're pairing, elsewhere in the lair, Ulf is takes a lantern and kind of goes further into the lair. He ends up stepping on a dragon egg, and you think like, oh, he's about to get destroyed. Like this is not going to end well for him. And then Silverwing takes a liking to him, and he pairs up with her. So there's now two riders out of all of this chaos. Two folks have sort of been chosen as riders on this path. So while this is happening, there's a council that is going on back at the keep with Aemon, and he is getting word that his other brother that has been out, Darren, Allison's other younger son, is a dragon rider and will soon be able to join you and be another rider on your service. And then you start hearing chaos from outside, and Lars pretty much is calm, and but he knows exactly what's happening. But Silverwing and Ulf are doing loops around the keep, and Aemon immediately gets on his horse and gets on Vhagar and follows him, and follows him to a point where they then all of a sudden see that Silverwing is landing around Dragonstone. And at that point, he's like, nope, Vhagar, no, retreat, let's go back. Because if nothing else, it's a trap. But two, he doesn't know if that's one dragon. He has no idea how many others that they may have. So he goes back, and then you just see a shot of Rhaenyra with all her new bastard army and dragons. And that's how the episode ends. Again, my favorite episode so far, because there's two scenes in this that I loved above all things that happened in this season. One is the red soul, the sowing of, yeah, the just blatant murder of people to just pick a couple of folks to be writers. It just shows you the links and the callousness that Rhaenyra has. She's just as bad as Aemon and them are. You sort of see that viciousness here. The other one is the Tully Daemon piece, and what Daemon, how much he's willing to sell out people to get the army that he needs. And so this was very much an episode to show that they're not that, the blacks and the greens are not that far apart on what it is that they will do to keep the crown and be the rightful heir. Solid episode. One more to go. And obviously, we're going to get some dragon battles in that, because there's way too many dragons on the board now for us not to get a dragon battle. And so I have a feeling that we're going to actually also have to get Daemon. There's no way that we go an entire season with Daemon and Rhaenyra not rejoining. So I imagine that has to happen at some point in time. But I feel like we're going to get, you don't mention Aemon and Daemon meeting in the last episode and not sort of have it. So I feel like that's where we're going to be heading at some type of battle at Harrenhal. Because Harrenhal has been too big of a piece of this season to not have a bigger stake than both Dragonstone and the Keep. What did you guys think about this episode? I didn't say the title. It's called The Red Sowing. What did you guys think about this episode and the the sure wanton uh, carnage that Rhaenyra was willing to do to get her some more writers? Go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadydid@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name that's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere that plays podcasts. We're there. This current episode is about Deadpool and Wolverine. So if you're into that, you should go listen to it. But like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.